Good day and welcome to our Python class. So today we're talking about introduction to Python. So we're going through the overview of Python, the use of Python, what Python is used for, and then how to install Python on your Windows system. So and also guide you through how to install on Linux and Mac system. But I'll be reading the practical of how to install it on Windows system today. So now, first of all, now Python was created in year 1991 by Guido van Rossum. Also, then Python was called Monty Python. So Python is a scripting language because it's an high-level programming language. And what do I mean by the word scripting language? So a script is just a small program meant for a one-time use. So it's targeted towards small to medium-sized projects. So Python can work for small project, medium-sized project. So now we're having a lot of libraries now who allow us to use Python for a organization size project. That's a very large project. So Python is used by many companies and many products. E.g., Google use Python, for example, for YouTube and some of their products. Yahoo, our Yahoo Mail, uses Django for their backend, which is Python. So YouTube, like I said, for Google, and also many Linux distributions. So the Linux system, that's Ubuntu, Kali, Fedora, Linux Mint, and so on. So they all use Python. So game and app. So we have some games and applications which are built on Python programming language. So now the use of Python. So what we use Python for? So now Python is for web development. So mostly server side. That's the backend aspect of the web development, software development, mathematics. That's where we're dealing with numbers. So also coming from numbers, we also deal with is also used for data analysis and data science. So data analytics and data science. So data analytics is the use of number is getting information from raw data. So data science is the advanced part of data analytics. That's when so now also machine learning and artificial intelligence coming. So Python normally uses for machine learning and artificial intelligence. So for system scripting, so Python also is used to write system scripts and also ethical hacking and cyber security. So most of cyber security these days and ethical hackers now use Python scripts because of its wide range of libraries and also its ease to use. Okay, now we're having two major versions of type of Python. We're having the Python 2 and the Python 3. So now currently we're using the Python 3 because that's the latest Python version we're using now. So Python 3 is increasing in its version Python 3.1, 3.11 and so on. So Python works on different platforms: Windows system, which is what we're using, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi, Android, and then iOS. So you can run your Python code either on your phone, your system, no matter which OS you are using. Also now, how to install Python? So now we are going to be installing Python from their official website, which is www.python.org. So we're going to install it and then we'll run the IDLE. That is the integrated. That's our environment to run our Python scripts. So for Mac OS, like I said before, I'll also be putting how to run on Mac and Linux. So for Mac OS, Python is already pre-built on a Mac operating system. So you don't need to install Python on Mac. So you just go to your terminal, run Python. So or you can run your IDLE from your Finder on your Mac operating system. So for Linux, if you are using a updated Linux for either Ubuntu Linux or either Ubuntu, Kali, Fedora, or so on. So if you're using the updated one, so you can just type in Python on your terminal to see. And mostly Python when it works, so you can try type in Python 3. So that's Python 3. So to see if Python is installed. And then if it's not installed, so you can easily install Python from the Linux distribution package. So we're having the software software application installer on Linux, so you can use that to install it, or you can install it from a terminal. That's sudo apt install Python. So now let's go on how to install on Windows. So I will go into my web browser. So typing in python.org. So now I will go into the download section. So now the latest version of Python is Python 3.13. So I'll be using this latest version. So download. So it's downloaded. So I can open my folder now. After opening my folder, so now I can install it. So browse by double clicking it, run. So now to install Python on my system now. So now I'll have to now we have it installed now, which will be saving in this directory or customize installation. So I would advise you to go for install now. So it's going to install Python to the default Python directory, and also you have to check this use admin privilege so that Python can be running on the administrator privilege, and also you have to add Python to paths so that you won't be needing to do any configuration for Python to work on your terminal or command prompts and so on. So I have to add Python to paths, and then I can click on this install now. So I've canceled my installation because I already have Python installed my system before, so I'll be canceling the installation. But you have to wait for Python to install. Finish. It's not installing until your setup complete. So now you can now close the setup interface. So the moment I'm done installing, so what I'm doing next is, okay, let's go to our slide. So now we're done installing. So I can easily access my IDLE here. So go to my start menu, all apps. Now scroll down up to P, that's Python. So P. So I'm seeing I'm having Python 3.13. So I can click on it, and this is the IDLE we're going to be starting. So we're having a lot of Python 3.13, which is the shell, which we are not using, the manual and the module documentation. So now what we'll be needing now is just this IDLE. So click on the IDLE. I'm using this version, but it's still not different from 3.13, just some little changes, but I'll be using this. So whenever you open your IDLE, so you should be having this interface. So you'll be having this interface. So let's see the next thing to do. So now Python is an interpreted language, because we have two types of language, either it's interpreted or it's a compiled language. That's why we're having the interpreter and the compiler. So Python is an interpreted language. So it's run its code, it's run or executes its code line by line. So Python takes its code line first of all, run line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, one by one. But not like, okay, let me use Java as an example. Java is a compiled language. So it uses a compiler. So just Java will compile all the code, all the line of, assuming you have 10 lines of code, you do check it one by one to compile everything together before it can give you your outputs. So now we're having a chart here. So for Java, you having the code, the compiler will take it, it will have to go through a runtime environment. That is the time it's going to use to compile before you have your output, before computer show the output. But for Python, I have my code, interpreter will interpret it line by line at once, and then I'll have my results. So that's represented by the, so Python is an interpreted language. It is an interpreter. So now we are having, let me say we have 33 keywords in Python 3. So these numbers vary slightly over the course of time. So when there's an update, so the number will change. The number changes. So now all the keywords in Python are all in small letter, all true. So you can say everything having a small letter except three keywords. That is number 1 false, number 2 none, number 3 true. So these three are not the so their first letter will be in capital letter, so they are in the normal case, but all other Python keywords are in lowercase. Please take note of that, because we're going to be using it in our future classes. Okay, so like I said, for Python is an interpreted language. It allows us to type our code one by one, and then we're going to see the results. So I don't need to finish all my code before I can see my results. So Python is a great way to explore syntax. So assuming you're just new, you are new into the tech industry, and then you want to go to the coding aspects in the tech industry. So Python syntax is similar to our English syntax, our English language. Let me use English language. So it's enlightened. So you understand it more better than going for other language. But going for other language also is not a bad idea. You're going to get it if you're dedicated. But going for Python first enable you to understand the syntax more better. Okay, so now here we are having, so Python does not have a main method. So Python is just typing your script and then run it. But assuming it's Java, I have to put in my public static void main and so on before I can run just a simple hello world. So to run a simple hello world in Java, I have to input like four or five line of codes. But for Python, just a line of code, I'll show out hello world to users. So okay, now let's experiment that. So I'm going back to my IDLE. So I can do it from here, print hello world. So we're going to explaining why I'm putting this bracket and putting this quotation later in our class. So now I'm having hello world. But anytime I'm clicking on enter here, it's going to a different line to show the output. I can't type in a code of 2-3 lines. So that's where before we can. So now this is what we call the Python IDLE shell. So this is just a shell. It's only to show us our outputs. So now to write my code or script, now I have to come to file and click on new file. So now I can type a code of multiple line here. You can say print hello world, close. I can also say print welcome to okay, I have to put my code. I'll go to my Python class. So and then to run this, I'll come to this run and click on run module. But it will prompt me to save first if I can run. So I like to save my file into my document. So I'll be creating a folder for it so that I won't lose any of my practice file. Python class. So to just create this folder, I click on this side and just type in Control-Shift-N. So that will create a new folder for you. So I'm entering this folder and then let me just give it introduction. So Python will add the intro.py. So because the essential of Python is .py. So you can say I'm having hello world, welcome to my Python class. So now this is the name of the file, intro.py. So now I can come here again, which is this file. I can come here again to type anything again. Okay, let me just add a exclamation mark here. So I run again. Run module prompts me to save. Yes, save. So welcome to Python class and then exclamation mark. So you can see it's very easy to run a line of code in my Python IDLE. So now let's go back to this. So now we have print this hello world. So now let's go again. So now about this, what will a blank bracket do? We didn't put any bracket. Let's see what we do. And also we're having something called escape character, which we'll be talking later on the string the string manipulation. So now let's say I'm adding this. So let me add it in between this hello world and welcome to my Python class print. So I'm putting this empty brackets without anything. So let's see what will happen. Run module. So putting it down, it's creating a space in between them because this empty, there's nothing in it. So what you just do is create a space in between them. So that's for this this without any text in it. So now we also have what we call comments in Python. So we're having what we call the one-line comment and the multi-line comments. So let's check on that. So now let's say I want to tell, I just want to put a comment, because if you're writing the code, you may just want to put an explanation on the code just for you to know what this line of code is doing, or if someone else wants to read it, just best to know, oh, this is what this code is doing, and so on. So I'll just do is, okay, let's say how to show output. So I didn't put anything here. So let me say I just click on run module, and then I click on OK. Invalid syntax, because Python flag, because this is not a valid syntax in Python. So now that's where comment comes in. So now I have to comment this, so like Python can, so the IDE will know that this is just a comment, so it will ignore it. So I just put this hashtag sign. So anytime I put the hashtag sign and run it, it will recognize that this is a comment. So it's going to ignore it. But let's say I'm having a lot like show output and also outpoint. I'm writing again for user to see. So I'm just making line like that. So I can go, so you can do it this way, pushing this hash, come down again, push hash. But let's say I'm having a comment of about 15 lines, and I don't want to be pushing hash because that's a bit frustrating. So what I just do is come to put 3 single quotes, and then I have to close it also, because anytime I'm opening a quote, I have to close the quotes. Same thing we are doing here. I open a double quote here, I have to close it back with double quotes here. So I'm opening 3 single quotes, I have to close it back. So now this is a comment. So Python will see this and it will ignore it, that I'm just commenting inside my script. So now it will run this and then it will ignore this. So that is different between the single line comment and the multi-line comment. So let me put the single line comments back, just using this hashtag. Okay, let's go forward. Let's go on. So okay, function. We are going to function. We are coming to function later, but function is also equivalent to the static method in Java, but we'll talk about function when we get there. So white space, significance, we're going to come to this also. So now jobs you can land with Python skill. So as a Python expert, so you can land a job as a Python developer, and as a Python developer you can either be a backend developer, writing Python scripts and so on. So product manager, you can be a product manager because you have an idea of how it works, and you can know how to manage products using Python. Educator, you can be an instructor. So you can just have there can be a tech school, so you can be an instructor just to teach Python for the school. A data analyst, yeah, a data analyst and a data scientist. So as a Python expert, you can be a data analyst and a data scientist. So you can draw insights from, so you can draw meaningful insights from data. So financial advisor. So the moment you can draw insights from data, because you already know how to analyze data and so on. So to be a financial advisor is very easy, because you can analyze previous financial issues. You can analyze, because the moment you're doing is finance, you are dealing with numbers. That's money. So money and numbers are almost alike. So you have to know about how to analyze. So as a data analyst, you can be a financial advisor. Also, you can also be a data journalist. Also, that's also related partially to data analysts. So you can also be a data journalist. You can also be an ethical hacker, cyber security, and so on. So Python is a very broad programming language, which you have to give your time to learn more about it. So our next class we'll be talking about Python variable. So that's what we're talking about in our next class. Thank you, and then have a nice time.